Welcome, new video, very important subject, epoxy in homes. What do you think about epoxies in homes? Should we be putting epoxy floors in homes, yes or no? Big issue. I have my personal opinions on the subject I'm going to talk to you about now. Let's start with the basics. Obviously, garages, storage spaces, that's a number one. Yes, that's definitely a yes. You can put epoxies in garages and in storage spaces. In fact, it's probably the best product you can put. An epoxy floor coating is probably the best you can put in a garage because it keeps the concrete clean. You basically don't have any oil spills. You can clean them up, any water. You don't have to get any tire marks. You can clean them easily. Same with storage space. It's great to just store your stuff without them getting dusty and getting musty. Great solution if we're talking about storages or garages in the house. Also a basement, a playroom, anything like that, a multi-purpose room. It's a great solution. Now let's go to the next step though. Living spaces, kitchens, living rooms, even bedrooms. I am against those. And there's many reasons why I'm against living rooms and kitchens. I can show you a few pictures of actual floors we've done in these areas, but I personally stopped doing these floors and I had strongly advised against doing them. And I don't want to take on any responsibilities. And the main reason is managing long-term maintenance and long-term expectations. People will see a floor in a brochure and it's a nice glossy paper and it looks amazing and they're like, yeah, I want that floor. But here's the thing, after a few months or years, that beautiful looking floor starts getting some scratches, some wear, not necessarily breaking or peeling, because an epoxy floor, if it's applied properly, it will not break and it will not peel, but you will always get that wear and tear and it no longer looks that glossy. If you have furniture and you're dragging it around, that might cause little scratches underneath the legs of the furniture. If you have a pet, dog or cat, and they're just running around, that will damage the floor with little scratch marks. If you have kids, well, that will damage the floor too. So keep those things in mind. People will try to sell you this super top coat that is anti-scratch, anti-this, anti-that. Believe me, all of these floors, all of these resinous floors over time will show wear and tear. And this is wear and tear that in a factory, in a storage, in a warehouse, it's perfectly acceptable. It's perfectly fine. It's fine if you have it in your garage. It looks better than your concrete. But in your living room, people want their living room to look really nice. And that is a problem, that you can't just recoat it in the living room. It's not like a store where once a year you shut it down and you just do a recoat of the floor. And you have a budget for that. People want to renovate their house once and that's it. So keep that in mind when we're talking about long-term maintenance. Another issue I see is people tell me, I want my house to have an industrial look and it sounds so cool. Yeah, industrial look, it sounds cool. But you tell them, industrial look also means that you might start having some scratches. And here's the thing, the minute the first scratch shows up on their floor, they go berserk. They're like, I have a scratch, what do I do? And it's like, well, we warn you, this is what you get when you want the industrial look. Everyone claims that they don't mind having scratches on their floor until they actually get a scratch on their floor. And again, that's one of the reasons why I stay away from projects in homes where they want to do an epoxy floor in a home. I would much rather do, if it's a basement or if it's a garage, I don't mind doing it. But I want to stay away from homes for this reason. An important point for contractors, for those of you that decide to do epoxy floors in homes, make sure your staff, the people you have with you in your team, are people that have a certain attention to detail. This is not like applying 1,000 square meters in some warehouse. In a home, you need to pay attention to every little speck of dust, every little detail, every little bubble or pinhole will be visible in a home. And you need to make sure, you need to wipe that place clean 3 times before you actually start applying the floor coating. There's a lot of little details you need to pay attention to when you are applying these things in a house. Make sure you understand this. And final point I want to mention, something we call in situ application. This means applying on the spot. With epoxies, the application takes place there and then. It's not like a tile or a piece of a wooden floor where you kind of bring the tile from the factory, you show up, you stick it to the floor and you leave. Epoxy is a bit different in the sense that the actual floor is applied on site. You mix the A and the B component on site, and the result of that floor The result of that mixing and the application and the curing is subject to weather conditions, humidity, cold weather, hot weather, dust, all these, the concrete itself. Does a concrete have problems? All these little things play a massive role when you are applying epoxies in a house. All these things that will affect your final result of the floor. So keep that in mind. People don't understand that you might have a perfect looking surface, but there might still be a little speck of dust trapped somewhere that someone in a factory won't even pay attention to, but if it's in someone's home, they will pay attention to. So make sure you account for all these issues when you are applying epoxies in homes, or if you yourself want for your own house, make sure you consider these points. It's not as easy as people make it sound like. Thank you very much for watching. Remember to subscribe and click on the notifications bell. I've got some really good videos you can also watch right now. Thank you very much.